Ever imagine yourself kind of like orchestrating this whole symphony, but instead of instruments, it's wrenches and pipes?
Okay, I gotta admit, that's a new one.
It sounds strange, right?
Yeah.
But that's where my head went when I started prepping for this deep dive on, get this, a hardware, plumbing, and heating equipment and supplies distribution manager.
Wow, that is a mouthful.
Right, I know. And it's one of those titles that just doesn't quite capture it, you know?
Totally. You hear distribution and you think, oh, just moving boxes, but this is way more specialized than that.
Exactly. And what's interesting from the sources we've got is that it's not just about the logistics, it's about strategy too. Making sure the right products get to the right places at the right time. That takes planning.
Absolutely. It's like a constant juggling act, and you need to know the industry inside and out. Just think, a construction project could be totally stalled if they don't have the right plumbing supplies when they need them.
That's a nightmare scenario right there.
And that's where a distribution manager comes in. They're the conductor, making sure everything flows smoothly.
Okay, that's a much clearer picture. So for someone listening who's picturing themselves in this role, what are the must-have skills to really nail it? I'm guessing organization is top of the list.
Oh, absolutely. Organization is key. But it's more than just keeping your desk tidy, right? It's about managing a whole network, suppliers, inventory, deliveries, often with these super tight deadlines.
Yeah.
And things change all the time, so you need to be on top of it. Oh, and attention to detail, that's a big one too.
Makes sense. One wrong pipe could mean a whole lot of trouble.
Exactly. And here's something interesting. While a lot of the work does happen in an office, be prepared to get out there too.
Oh, really?
Yep. Site visits, meeting suppliers, maybe even seeing how a distribution center operates firsthand. It's not always a desk job.
You know, that part actually appeals to me, getting out there and actually seeing how it all comes together. Now, I'm curious about the tech side of things. Our sources mentioned automation, AI, data analytics. Are these things a distribution manager uses every day, or are they more like obstacles they have to overcome?
It's kind of both, honestly. It's like this. These technologies, they're changing how the whole industry works. Imagine a program that can analyze data and be like, hey, next month, this type of plumbing supply gonna be huge.
Wow.
Right. That is incredibly useful for a distribution manager. But it also means they have to adapt, learn how to actually use these tools effectively.
So it's not just about knowing where to send stuff. It's about understanding the data behind those decisions. That sounds like a whole extra set of skills.
You got it. And that actually leads us to what our sources said about the pros and cons of this career path. On the plus side, there's real potential to earn a good living, and there's definite room to grow. But expect long hours, high-pressure situations, and the need to constantly be learning, especially with tech changing all the time.
It sounds like you really need to be passionate about it, not just looking for a 9 to 5.
For sure. And speaking of paths, did you know our sources actually lay out how someone might climb the ladder in this field? It's not like you're a manager from day one. There's a whole journey there.
Okay, I'm definitely interested in unpacking that. Let's say someone's just starting out, maybe fresh out of school, and they land an entry-level job, like a distribution assistant. What does that first step actually look like?
From what I gathered, it's a very hands-on experience. You're involved in a bunch of different parts of the distribution process, like think monitoring inventory, working with suppliers, getting orders ready to ship. You might even be the one answering the phone to a plumber who's in a bind and needs a specific part, like yesterday.
So you're thrown right into the mix, getting a feel for how everything actually works. Sounds like a good way to learn the ropes.
Right. And as you prove yourself, you start taking on more, responsibility. Maybe you find yourself like specializing a bit. Maybe there's an area that really clicks with you, like logistics or inventory management, something like that.
So instead of just coordinating shipments, you might be managing a whole team that handles that.
Exactly. That's one path you could take. And then as you climb that ladder, the decisions, they get more strategic. You might be like developing whole distribution strategies, figuring out how to optimize inventory, maybe even managing budgets.
So it's like each level you're kind of leveling up your skills too. But you know what I find really interesting? It's this whole idea of the industry going digital, which our sources talk about a lot. They paint this picture of the future where data and tech are like everything. How does that impact someone who's on this career path, do you think?
Yeah, it's a big question, and for good reason, because it's not just about learning like one software program. It's more about having a mindset where you're okay with change, with adapting to new tech as it comes out.
So it's less about, say, knowing how to code and more about being comfortable with data, with constantly learning new tools.
Exactly. It's about being able to like connect the dots, see a new technology, and think, okay, how can this make our distribution network even better?
So you're not just managing products, you're managing information, technology, the whole evolution of the field. That's pretty impressive.
It is, and that's what makes it so interesting. It's this mix of logistics, supply chain stuff, data analysis, all these things coming together.
Definitely not your average desk job, that's for sure. And speaking of, skills and what it takes to land a job, our sources actually gave us some real interview questions they ask aspiring distribution managers.
Oh, yeah. I always find those interesting.
Me too. I think they give you like a real peek behind the curtain, what they're actually looking for.
Right. They want to see how you think, not just what you know.
Okay, so hit me with one. What kind of question should someone be ready for?
Okay, here's one that stood out to me. Can you describe a time when you had to resolve a conflict with a client or a vendor? This one's all about your problem-solving skills, how you communicate, how you handle, those tough situations that come up, because they always do.
Oh, for sure. Especially in this field, right? So many moving parts, tight deadlines. Things are going to go wrong sometime.
Exactly, yeah. Whether it's a shipment that's delayed, or maybe there was a miscommunication about an order, or maybe different people just have different expectations. A distribution manager has to be able to deal with that stuff.
So you can't just say, oh, yeah, I handled it. They want details.
Yeah. A good answer would walk them through, like, the actual steps you took. How did you stay calm under pressure? How did you make sure everyone understood each other? And then what was the solution?
It's about showing them you can handle the heat.
Exactly. And don't forget to emphasize the positive. What was the outcome? Did you save the relationship? Did you improve a process because of it? Did the company benefit?
Ooh, good point. It's like showing off your problem-solving highlight reel.
All right. Okay, are you ready for another one?
Hit me. I want to see what else they throw at you.
All right. This one shows just how important it is to stay ahead of the game, they ask. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and changes?
Oh, that's a good one. It's so easy to fall behind. In any job, but especially one where things are moving this fast. New tech, new ideas, all the time.
Because in this role, it's not just about, impressing your boss. It's about making the right calls. And those decisions, they affect the whole supply chain. So when they hit you with that question, think about how you show them you're on top of it.
Right. So it's not enough to just be like, oh, I read the headlines. I'd want to show them I'm going deeper. Maybe I'm subscribed to some industry journals or attending those online webinars. Maybe I'm even part of like a forum or something with other professionals.
Now you're talking. That tells them you're engaged, you're actively learning, looking for those ideas that can give you an edge.
Exactly. You're not just along for the ride. You're in the driver's seat.
100%. And one thing our sources mention, it's not all about the tech, surprisingly. They said the best distribution managers, they'll be the ones who can bridge the gap between like the digital world and the actual physical stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. You could have the fanciest software in the world, but if you don't actually get the products, the relationships, what the clients need, it's not going to work.
Exactly. Knowing the actual hardware, the plumbing, the heating equipment, that's still going to be huge. Imagine a distribution manager who not only knows how to use AI to make deliveries faster, but they can also be like, hey, based on what's out there, this new product, more sustainable, more efficient, perfect for your project. That's next level stuff.
Wow. Yeah, you're not just a logistics person. You're a trusted advisor almost.
Right. And that, to me, is what makes this whole deep dive so interesting, this career path. It's not staying still. It's pushing people to learn, to adapt, to really become experts in their field.
It's been eye-opening, that's for sure. So as we wrap things up here, is there like one big takeaway you hope our listeners are walking away with?
I think the biggest thing is this. Distribution, it's not just about moving stuff around anymore. It's this fast-moving, tech-driven field, and it needs people who have a whole bunch of skills and a real passion for, like, doing things better. And if you're up for that challenge, the future is wide open.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about embracing change, always learning, and never underestimating the power of, a well-placed wrench. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, everyone, and until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and we'll see you on the next one.